Bung Bung. Welcome to the Poddy is powered by Bung Bung Coffee, a modern dark roast blend of beans from Honduras, Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. Bung Bung Coffee doesn't only provide you with a premium coffee bean, but an individualized coffee experience. Do you need a machine for your home or office? Bung Bung Coffee can provide you with the machine of your choice. Home style, vending style, or traditional cafe style coffee machines and servicing. Bung Bung Coffee take pride in the service delivery and product quality. You can order your beans at bungbungcoffee.com or inquire about getting a machine for your home, venue, or office by sending them a message through the contact page on their website. That's bungbungcoffee.com, BUNG coffee.com, your favorite brewer's favorite brew. And if you want to, support the show in any other way, you can just go to welcometothepoddy.com and buy some merch, some sweet, soft merch. You ever had soft serve ice cream that's so soft it just started sort of overflowing over the side of the cone, dripping down your hand, looking like you just gave a hand job while you're driving a car? That's how soft this merch is. Soft as baby shit, as we like to call it. If you want that, go to welcometothepoddy.com/store and buy some merch to support the show. And if you're going through hard times and you can't afford merch because you're a poor cunt, just share anything. Hit the share button, the little arrow on Facebook, or the little paper plane on Instagram, or hit the retweet button, or send a text to your group chat saying, guys, this is fucking comedy and it's ignorant as hell. This guy just called the Queen a bitch. Okay? Hit that retweet button, share it, do what you got to do. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the party. Best show on the internet. Ask anybody. You know it's easy money. Sit back, relax, get your headphones, everybody. Welcome to the party. Blackout in the booth. Every episode's a party. We go hard like Ricky Bobby. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is welcome to the party.
Welcome to the Poddy. Bung bung. It's your man Claytron, aka the Big Boss Man, aka the Clumsy Jeweler, because I'm always dropping gems, aka the Milkman, because I always deliver, aka the PhD of podcasting, the Magnum PI of podcasting, the Captain, the Pusha T of podcasting. We'll bring that one back this week because I'm wearing the Easy Money hoodie. Not available in the store, actually. Only the crew necks are available right now. But go get yourself one of those. Here again with friend of the show, Mr. Calvin Fresh. Back at it like a bad habit.
That's it.
The mastermind behind the beautiful, the only Youngblood beer. This is the Crystal Ale, and oh my God, it is just superb. Just superb.
Should I slip you that endorsement money now or after the show?
Brought to you by Youngblood Beer, the best beer I've ever tasted personally.
Me too.
Oh man, why are you here?
Great question.
Have you ever had Bung Bung Coffee?
I have.
What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like, when some people say that you've got to have like nectar of the gods and things like that. That's the thing that comes to mind when it comes to Bung Bung Coffee. Yeah, maybe that's an overstatement, or maybe it's underselling it. But no, I've only had great experiences on Bung Bung Coffee.
Next level, NECTS level coffee.
Nice. I can see the advertising campaign already. Yeah.
That's the worst campaign ever. Everyone be like, "What? Why is it spelled like that?" just absolutely no context behind nectar or anything like that. But
no.
Oh, can I tell you something that happened to me this week?
Please.
Well, last week I got a parking ticket.
Oh, wow.
I fought it.
And?
Won.
Bullshit.
I fucking won.
How?
Sent an email.
And what did you say?
I said, I moved my car at 12 p.m., which means I had until 2.
Okay.
I got a ticket at 1:51.
Okay.
So this is a mistake. I saw the picture. They only took one picture and it didn't prove anything. It was just a picture of my car next to the sign.
Just proving you were there.
Yeah. I was like, I was there. But if this is due to a mark on my tires, it's because the mark wasn't rubbed off when I moved my car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not up to me to, I'm not, Isn't the whole thing supposed to be like it's a sneaky thing? You're not really supposed to know that the marketing tie's there.
I don't know. I think that
because I've gone and rubbed it off before, but like I saw parks were available, so I was like, I may as well move it. I've got time.
Is it possible that when you moved your car, your wheel stood in the same spot where you parked it up again?
Imagine, but they would have had to have a before and after shot of that.
No, very true.
But I won, and they said I will be taking no further action, and we've waived the fine. And I was just like, that is a huge fucking win for not only myself but listeners of the Welcome to the Poddy podcast.
Easy money.
Well, you've had a big week then. That's really great.
Yeah, that was huge. What else happened? I got a flat tire as well.
So you've had car troubles.
Yeah, I got a flat tire. This one was on me. I came in hot to the curb.
Okay.
And just shredded the fuck out of it.
Is it possible that you should just ditch this cursed car that you keep driving around?
Not if people don't start buying the merch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like a necessity thing. It's an A to B wagon now.
Yeah. You're gonna have to buy the merch if I'm gonna be moving into a new vehicle. Honestly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean that car has definitely had its fair share of rough stories and everything else. So
yep.
Yeah. I mean, I look forward to hearing what happens next.
Cancel that.
Touch wood.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But that's pretty much, the two minor things this week. How about you? Anything pop up this week for you?
Well, I'm back in Adelaide, and that's always fun and exciting. And it's one of those things that I romanticize this city so much, being my hometown. So every time I come back, I feel like I'm in a movie and I'm the main character. So right now, this is just part of my I don't know, maybe it's the build up and there's like a monologue going on. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really, really happy to be here. Really like getting around and speaking to people about beer. But the weather sucks. So I don't know if that's your fault or.
Well, you're the one from Melbourne, and you know what they say to people from Melbourne when they come to Adelaide.
What do they say, man? What do they say?
Oh, did you bring it with you?
Yes, 4 seasons in a day, all that jargon. Yeah. No, it is true though. It's so pathetically accurate that you can, you forget your sunglasses and it'll be sunny, or you'll forget a hoodie and you'll get rained on. It just guaranteed.
Speaking of sunglasses, I had my first Father's Day 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, and so you got some sunglasses?
Yeah, got some Ray-Bans.
Nice.
My last 2 pairs of Ray-Bans have been destroyed by my dog.
Yep.
Dogs. And so I was like, I'm not buying anymore.
Oh, wait, the like Malcolm X like brown frame ones they got destroyed.
They got destroyed, and then I had pretty much similar style, but they were black frames on the front with gold arms.
Oh.
I looked like an absolute trap lord in those, and they fucked those up too. They managed to get their teeth into mutual friend of ours and mutual friend of the Welcome to the Poddy podcast, actually, Chet. They chewed on his, but didn't destroy him. So I think he's walking around with sunnies with little spots in one of the lenses.
One of your dogs took my phone.
Took your phone, yeah.
Yeah.
My Gigi, when she was a puppy, put her tooth through the screen of my phone, and I had to get another handset, which means, as we all know with our phone contracts, I was paying off 2 handsets at the same time, which was an absolute nightmare. My phone bills were like $280. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last time I was here, I rocked up wearing a white T-shirt, and Gigi put her paw print on me.
She has no finesse.
No. It's really, we have a love-hate relationship, which is now why I've become that like scared toddler that messages you every time I come over saying, "Can you protect me?" It's very, very emasculating.
She's getting better though.
Yeah. Oh, she's calming down for sure. But it's I definitely feel like I'm what do you call it? It's like a beta type male.
Yeah.
When I'm asking you to protect me from 2 dogs.
A beta is the guy that goes on a fishing trip, but all he does is put worms on hooks. He never actually casts a reel.
I don't understand.
Beta.
Great. Well, I'm already feeling that. So if the hat fits.
Easy money.
So I was very curious. The last few times we've spoken, obviously we've gone on more of a deep dive on your comedy and everything else, and kind of like the business aspect of things, which is a bit different from, you know, the comedy angle and more of the fun, lighthearted stuff. And I always like, you know, digging down and seeing, I guess, how you're going and progressing, because I don't think many people ask you that question on your own podcast.
No, well, usually you have guests on the show to talk about them.
Yeah.
And I've had you on probably 4 or 5 times. We haven't talked about the beer once. So that's...
No, we haven't.
That's a problem. And
Yeah.
2, this is becoming a bit of a pattern, because the last guest I had on here was James Donald Forbes McCann, and that honestly felt like I was on someone else's podcast, just talking about myself and jacking my own dick for 90 minutes. So that's how selfish we get here at the Welcome to the Poddy podcast.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I mean, if no one else is going to do it for yourself, right?
Exactly, and that's why we have.
Is that why the show exists?
Yeah. The show, this show is essentially just a
dick swinging competition for yourself.
or dick beating competition. With myself. Yeah. Just like, how hard can I make myself come this week?
Yeah, right. Oh, I mean, like you've chosen quite a unique platform for that. Usually people go Instagram for that kind of route, I find. So,
oh, dude, people on Instagram.
Yeah,
they're
reality.
So cool, man.
Yeah, it's all in reality.
Cool. And that's what I actually say to myself when I make myself calm. I go, oh, Clay, you're so cool.
Well, this went off track very quickly. Yeah.
Well, you got to bring some just fucking foolishness to the Welcome to the Poddy podcast before, like, if you're just going to end up talking about yourself for an hour, you got to bring something.
Yeah.
Something, because otherwise it's just just self-indulgence, man. It's like,
but that's
this show is the Gucci pants of entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you picked a very specific
I think someone mentioned Gucci pants yesterday, so it was just there. It was easily accessible.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Wow. It's very lodged into the subconscious there.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like,
it came back out.
next paycheck, you're just going to be like, oh, cool, nice pants, Clay.
Yeah, no doubt. But no, like, I think it's you know, we haven't spoken about the beer before, but it's probably because it's been you know, there's been a lot of...
Speaks for itself, honestly. Like, all you need to do is taste it and you know how fucking amazing it is.
Oh, man. These royalties. Yeah. I'm getting a good serve.
Ad money.
Yeah. No, I think it's really interesting because the last couple of years have been pretty strange. So I guess it's hard to talk about things with any degree of certainty when it's been so, you know, unstable and everything else. And being like a small business is... as you would know, is pretty I guess hard to navigate and to predict and things like that. So I guess that was like my first thing with you was, if you knew now what you knew, if you knew now how hard it would be and everything else, do you think it would have influenced you when you started?
I don't think when I started, I don't know what the goal was. I don't know if there was a goal, but I don't think the goal when I started was I'm going to be a comedian.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure as soon as my first set ended, that became the goal.
Yeah.
It felt so good.
Yeah.
So if I knew then how hard it was, no, I don't think it would have changed shit because, and I don't know whether we've talked about this before on the podcast, but
yeah.
My first goal in life was to become an NBA player.
Yeah, I remember.
There's more. Oh no, the reason this is so similar is because I talked about this with James. There's more lottery winners every year than there are draft picks.
Yeah, well, I think you mentioned it with James, which was the 60 draft picks, 30 guaranteed of those. Like it's a very, very, very lucky few that make it.
And I didn't make it, but I did make a living off of it, which is the goal essentially. Like if you no matter what field you're in, if it's beer, if it's finance, if it's marketing, if it's support work, if you love what you do and you enjoy doing it, the goal is just make a living. You don't need to become a trillionaire. You know, like I'm not trying to be the next
Bezos.
Yeah, or like in comedy terms, like Joe Rogan, who I'm actually better at comedy than, but I don't want to be the next Dave Chappelle. Like I don't need to be a mogul in the industry. I just want to do it. I just want to be able to get by doing it. That's all I give a fuck about. It's like I just care about comedy. It's fun. It's hard. It's challenging. It's like golf, man. It's just you up there. Yeah.
Well, I guess that was a really nice statement, but you didn't answer the question even.
Oh
remotely.
Yeah. Sorry. So if I knew then, no, I wouldn't have stopped. As I said, I think I did answer it. I knew how hard it was going to be to become an NBA player, and it didn't stop me.
Like, I'm saying, like, all that, like, how hard it is just to get, like, I know, like, so currently right now.
I think a bit of ignorance was involved.
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss, but I think that's the question that, what I've self-reflected on a lot is you look at things and you look at planning and you look at every other thing. And usually, like, I find that once you leave high school, like the dream fades in a way. So it's like, when you're in high school, you could be anything. You could do anything. Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? All that kind of shit is like the question. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's your score. This is what you can get into. Do this. This is the wise move, whatever, blah, blah. And I think that it changes. And I think my biggest thing is that being naive, I think, is a gift in a way, because naive means that you actually do shit and you try it because you almost think that you can do it. And then once you get baptized by fire, you're so far in that you either have, like, you've moved in the journey from the beginning to, some form.
Now I'm thinking about it, there definitely was ignorance involved, because there was I remember a conversation with one of my coaches I was already 18 at the time, and he said, what's your goal? And I said, I want to play in the NBA.
Yep. And
he didn't shoot me down.
Sounds like a good coach.
Yes and no, I guess. Yeah, I think he helped me manage my expectations in terms of what college to go to, because I did get recruited by some big schools.
Yeah.
That if I went to, I may not have actually even played at.
Yeah.
And he helped me without telling me you're not going to be in the NBA. He helped me choose a school that I was going to be able to play at.
Yeah.
So that
but again, like, if we were talking about, like, with comedy and this podcast and things like that, knowing how hard it is to make this successful, thinking about your first episode or even your first stand up and how, like, just how much time and energy and money it takes to do it. Do you think that it would have, if you'd known all of that before you'd started, do you think it would have influenced you to start or stop?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm just built like that. I think I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's like, I think that's the simplest form, is being naive.
Yeah.
And I think it's a strength, because you see so many of these kids and stuff like that, and they have these, like, crazy ambitions, and they're, like, massive dreamers and everything like that. And part of me wants to say, you're a fucking idiot. You've got no idea how hard it is. Like, that seems so far-fetched. And I'll never say that, because I would hate myself if I did that. And if someone did that to me, I'd hate them. But I think it's such a strength to go, you know what, like, no, maybe it's naive and foolish in a way where you go, it might not work for them, but for me, it's going to be different, because I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do this or whatever. And I think that's awesome. Like, I think it's the best thing. So I think being naive is a strength in a way, which is crazy for what it sounds like, but it's the reason people start in these endeavors, because if they'd known how hard it was or how many challenges would come their way, a lot of people, I think, wouldn't do it. So the naive plays a strength.
Yeah, pussies. I'm in the red in the podcast. I'm in the red in comedy. I already know how hard it is, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just a lot of people, like, if you're in the red after 360 episodes, who's going past 50 episodes and not making money?
Oh, but it just depends. Like it's all like, I guess that's the difference is you kind of, you have to adapt and you have to pivot and you have to do things differently. So like the fact that you're going, okay, well, the more I am, the bigger my profile as a comedian, the more people will listen to the Welcome to the Poddy podcast. That seems like a pretty good reverse engineering, right? That seems like a thing. Yeah. So it's kind of like a closed loop that they both scratch each other's back in a way. So that's yeah. But that's the thing is like, I think finding that out and figuring that out, like you don't have to put like expectations on, oh, this needs to be in the green by X or I'm a failure. It doesn't work like that. Like the scales tip when they tip if you keep going. I mean, the overheads here wouldn't be insane. So it's not like you're not feeding your kid to keep the potty on.
No.
So it's still within relativity.
If this room got robbed, I'd fucking kill myself though. For sure, bro. This room is worth as much as my car, if not more, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But I mean, like, I remember when you first
my
started.
address is no.
It's insured, right? Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
Well, I think, yeah, I guess that's that one thing is I find that obviously, like, as you get older, it gets a lot harder. Obviously, you've got a little man now. You've got more responsibility.
He looks after himself, bro. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy, bro. So
yeah,
we don't really do shit.
Easy money.
We're never even home. He's here. He feeds the dogs.
Yeah. He looks after himself. Yeah.
and dogs. He's got dependents.
Oh wow. Well, I think that's the one thing as well that, I mean, I'm 32 now. You're 32. The things you do when you're like 27 are different because you kind of have this thing where you're looking forward. And I find that as we get older, this is my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, but as we are younger, we look forward. And then when we get to a certain age in our mid-20s, we look sideways. So we go, what are my friends doing? What are other people I know doing? And then, oh, that guy bought a house, or these people are getting married, or whatever else. And that kind of changes my trajectory and influences me versus, keeping that forward, like, I guess, looking forward and looking at what you're doing, which is obviously, like, if the podcast is in the red and everything else is in the red, it wouldn't be that far in the red and it wouldn't be that far too deep, right? Or
no, like,
ticking itself over.
We make a little bit of money. We make enough to chuck some money in marketing and for Boardman to get a little bit of a payday.
Yeah.
So like we make money, but it's just not like. But I'm not counting down the months till like fuck. I'm about to like leave my job.
Yeah.
Like, but we make a little bit of coin, but
No, but I guess that's like what I mean though. Is like as you get older, like it's hard not to, I guess that's where those challenges have a bit more weight to them. So, excuse me, when you're talking to someone and they're talking about how they've just bought a house and they've done this stuff, and then you're looking about it and going, oh fuck, well I've got a podcast that's in the red. That becomes like a greater burden than what it did 5 years ago.
Oh yeah. When my friends are like doing adult moves like that, buying homes, building their third home, bro. I've got people in my life that are doing that shit, and it like I'm not a piece of shit, but it makes me feel like I am.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm like letting Rachel down or letting Kenny down or letting myself down, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be by a certain age. Like, but
that's societal. Like who imposed that restriction or who imposed that pressure? Because there's no pressure really.
There isn't at all. No,
it's completely made up because it's not like you need to do this, otherwise you'll die.
No,
it's not anything like that. It's more so that this is the expectations that happen. So when you reach a certain age, it becomes foolish to do this, and it makes more sense to do this.
It's just about rewiring your brain and your thought process. It's cognitive behavioral therapy, really. It's like you can think of investment as it has to be a tangible thing. It has to be you're investing in bricks and mortar, or you're investing in stocks and bonds. I don't know who's doing bonds these days, but
But again,
like I'm investing in myself.
yeah,
Which people do. They don't think it is that, but like everyone's paying off their university degree. That's an investment you made in yourself.
yeah,
I am lucky enough not to have to pay mine back.
Yeah.
And so I'm investing in myself by buying equipment for my podcast, purchasing marketing, having a co-host slash engineer slash producer that gets semi paid.
yeah.
And buying flights to different cities to do comedy and registering my show in festivals and stuff.
But would you say that's an investment? Like obviously you said, like, and that's the thing with the societal thing. I think putting a filter on your influence is really key, and that would be something I would say to anybody. Like if your influence is going to be people saying you need to buy a house, and you don't agree with that, then you need to remove yourself from that and find people who are more intimate in regards to
bro. If you are a Democrat, you should watch CNN and CNN only. You shouldn't be getting other perspectives in your life.
No.
Tunnel vision.
No,
that's what we need.
Yeah, but you know what I mean is like I think it comes down to it where it's like you should be surrounding yourself with people who are going to help you solve the problems and come with solutions versus just telling you that what you're doing is wrong. Like you're speaking a different language. So the investment you're doing, you might say, "Oh, you don't have Hex, or I don't have whatever else, and I don't have a mortgage." But what you're doing is you're investing in yourself, and what you're buying is you're buying yourself freedom from regret and freedom from other things that come later in life when you go, "Fuck, I'm 40 years old and I haven't done a fucking thing."
Yeah, and I think those people in my life are a minority. They're they're basically blacks, but no, like, but I've got enough of those people in my life for me to have enough value in them to keep the other people who think I'm an idiot. They can stay around because I've got enough support to Mr. I wanna pay my mortgage or my 3 mortgages for the rest of my life. Go ahead.
Oh, look, there's no right way to climb the mountain, right? If that makes you happy and that gives you purpose, then fucking go for it. Amazing. But it's not the same for everyone else. And I think there's a lot of people like yourself, and I put myself in the similar category, which is if I don't do this, I'm going to hate myself because
100%.
It's the same thing. Like that old adage, and I think I've said it on the show here before, but it was like the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time to do it is today.
Yeah.
And I believe that fucking everything. So what I'm doing is in pursuit of this process, I'm learning fucking everything I need to learn, everything I want to learn. I'm figuring it out along the way. I'm challenged as fucking the most I've ever been challenged. And the biggest part of it is I'm driven. Like I've got this purpose. I don't feel like
Uber.
Yeah. I have this whole thing where, I've worked, big corporate jobs. I've had I've been super, super privileged with some opportunities I've had where I've been in, conversations about national campaigns and all these other things. And then I go through the spectrum of having some random guy in a bottle shop in some random suburb absolutely, shit on me. And I'm still driven.
Beckham Jr.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing is like, I guess that's it is like what I'm doing now is I'm trying to figure out if I can do this, and I'm never going to ask the question. So the investment is just like what you've done is the investment in the equipment in this room and everything else, all that money. Just because you're not putting it towards a house that's an asset or whatever like that doesn't mean it's not like in itself a bigger asset, which could be I'm not going to fucking hate myself in 10 years time and go, what the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
And I think that's it is like, you should be driven by purpose. You shouldn't be driven by profit.
No, and I don't think there's shame in.
There's no shame in it.
In like, and I don't intend to fail, and I don't think you do either. I don't think anybody ever does.
Do you shoot a shot hoping to miss? No, you shoot a shot thinking it's going in, right?
Yeah, and I don't think, if you miss a shot on the buzzer to win, there's no shame in that. No one's mad at Jimmy Butler right now for his attempt.
I'm so grateful for Jimmy Butler and missing that 3-pointer.
Yeah, but like Miami fans don't hate him.
No,
his parents don't hate. Sorry, well he is adopted, but his
Oh my God!
That one's a long one, so I just had to cut that one short. But no one's mad at Jimmy Butler for taking that shot, and no one's mad at me for doing comedy, and I'm not going to be mad. And that's who matters. You might have a wife, you might have kids, you might have parents. You got to live with yourself.
Absolutely. But then it's I think spot on. It's this thing where you go, this is something that I love doing. This is something that makes me happy and gives me this purpose.
And it makes me the best version of myself for my partner and my child as well.
Absolutely. I think I couldn't speak highly enough into that, is that people who lack purpose end up being like kind of like they
Carnos.
Yeah, they just suck. They're leeches because they suck onto things and they get kind of stuck.
Man, you corny.
You get stuck. And I think the best version of yourself is always going to be the best version for everyone else around you. So, again, freedom from regret is a big one because that burden gets heavier as you get older. And I
like that phrase, freedom from regret.
Oh man, it's everything. It's that, you can use money to invest. You can use money to do whatever. You can do the same with time. You can do the same with energy. But the biggest thing is like, what's that token used for? What are you using it for? If you're using it for something that feeds you and grows you and you get better and you become a better person and everything else, then it's fucking worth its weight in gold. Versus a lot of other people just...
Gold hardly backs the currency, but that's for another day.
But it's just one of those things where you just, if you're trapped in those mindsets where you're kind of listening to what society or those pressures and stuff like that, and it kind of influences you, I do think it comes back. I think that no matter what way it's going to show its head, it's going to come back and it's going to go, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and now it's too late, and you're going to feel the pressures and the problems with it that come with that. And like, I don't wish that for anybody. I hope that if your route is not to do that, fine, that makes me super happy. But again, like I've seen a lot of people that, get a lot of satisfaction from talking about things, and when it comes to doing it, they don't do it. So the satisfaction of talking about it is enough to quench that thirst. But for me, like, that's not the case, and I think you're the same.
Oh yeah, and I think me being like that is like Rach has on many occasions told me, like, what I love about you, when you say you're going to do something, you fucking do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, in not so many words, that is exactly what you just said. Like practice what you preach, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think action begets action as well. So like
easy money.
Sometimes you got to hit the board.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but action begets action. So if you do something, you're growing that skill and you're doing it and you're getting better at it. And then the better you become at it, the more you keep doing it. So the more you jump on stage, the more that being on stage is going to be better for you. You're going to be better on the stage, and you're going to enjoy being up there more because you're going to grow that skill.
100.
Well, that's the thing is that, there's this stigma that we have endless time and all that kind of stuff, but creativity and ideas expire. They absolutely expire.
Yep.
If you don't do anything, they go away. Like, you lose them. And it's just like any skill. Like, if you don't dribble a basketball for 6 months, when you pick it up, you're not going to be as good as you were, like, when you were using it every day. Same as creativity, same as every other thing. So I think,
And even though that's not my path anymore, I still hate myself.
Oh,
when I fucking like dribble it off my knee, I'm like, why do you even exist?
Oh man, like I used to do a thing which was like, left hand and right hand layups, and I used to just do it like religiously to get that, I guess that, in like
dexterity.
Yeah, both. And now, like, because I don't do anything like that anymore, like my left hand sucks now.
Oh, bro.
Like not even like even basketball, in everything.
Jerk offs.
I can't jerk myself off left-handed.
Yeah.
No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't say I would want to do it, but yeah.
Do you think a piano player gives the best hand jobs?
I'd say it's like them, or like a rock climber, or like a
climber.
Jazz
I would
pianist.
say. I think a rock climber would give the worst hand jobs.
The
little calluses
oh, God,
and the severity of the grip.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I don't.
A pianist is at least got some finesse to him.
There's some dexterity amongst all of the fingers.
Yeah.
The
finger,
tassels
the finger professions. I think
Yeah.
That either good. I think a hand job can go both ways. It can be a tug or a penetration.
penetration
I think
from a hand job.
No, I mean for just like in terms of a hand job, like a hand job can be for men or women. It can be a fingering, a finger fuck, if you will, or it can be a jerk off, a hand job, a wank, if you will.
You've thought about this.
I just think you can, like, if you like head is eating out or S&D.
Yeah.
I think a hand job is both, right? It can be like I can give Rachel a hand job even though she doesn't have a wiener.
Well, it's I wouldn't call it a hand job.
But you don't want to always
say you jerked
like,
off.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I was
Rachel,
finger bashing my bitch or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty aggressive, you know.
Well, that's violent.
But
yeah.
pianists, I think, probably good at hand jobs and fingering.
And rock climbers definitely avoid.
Avoid a rock climber if you can.
Jazz pianist maybe.
Sometimes you got to take a week and get it. But
yeah. No, well,
I've been there.
Okay.
Well, not with a rock climber. Well, potentially. Potentially. He had.
Well, I think, I mean, back to, what we were saying and I guess probably more so on that, that question of, creativity and everything expiring and things like that, where ideas do expire. And especially as you get older and the longer that it goes between, how I guess important is it to you, like routine and staying on top of your reps? If it's, I need to do writing for this amount of time, I need to do this for this amount of time. Like, do you notice that if you stop for a certain amount of time that you do struggle, you lose a bit of the momentum or anything like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think for comedy, you need to be getting up on stage a lot just for
10,000 hours.
Yeah, you need to be working on your jokes. Obviously, like not just at home. You need to be saying them out loud on stage. You need to be able to riff a little bit. You need to, like, that's the only way your jokes are going to change.
Yeah,
and it's the only way that you're going to go through your jokes fluidly without umming and ahhing and getting stuck. And then timing's everything in comedy.
Yeah.
So if you're not up on stage regularly making sure that you have that timing down, it's gonna feel a bit funny for you and it's gonna feel a bit funny for the audience. So I think it's super important.
Do you think that there's like almost an alter ego that you create? So like I know a lot of people talk about like manifesting what their ideal life looks like, and then if you had achieved all the goals you want to achieve, how would you act differently? Do you find that like with stage time and doing things like that, if you're on stage and you're almost like acting as this hyper confident person, that's like something that you can gain and you can do over time that you couldn't have done when you first entered on stage? And if you were nervous, everyone felt you were like nervous. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it something that you can one do, and is it something that you actually do where you almost put on a persona of I'm Clay on stage versus Clay, on his podcast, or Clay
on the podcast is definitely a different person to Clay, I think.
Yeah.
Like
he's an entertainer.
Yeah, and he talks crazy intentionally. Like on the podcast, I don't mean everything I say.
Yeah.
On stage, I suppose I don't either.
Yeah.
But I'm much closer to real life Clay on stage than I am on the podcast.
Sure.
People say I'm so confident and comfortable on stage. I don't feel that, but that's the feedback.
So it's a persona then? Is it something you put on?
It's not something I put on. I guess like you don't want to be up there looking like a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
But I think at this stage of my career, I think I've been relatively careful with my jokes.
Okay.
I don't think I've let myself unleash
versus the Poddy.
The Poddy, I'm just reckless.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't give a fuck. I feel like it's I don't know.
Oh, okay. Name like 3 of your favorite comedians just off the top of your head right now.
Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy.
All right, so all of those guys are ruthless.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that you're not as ruthless, but you are on the podcast, but you're not on the stage.
I think it's just the live medium is just a bit scarier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think just like the nature of knowing that someone could just like stand up and be like "fuck you" or whatever. Like, and it's
genuinely fear. Is that something you genuinely fear?
No, not really. It's not something I think about while I'm on stage. I probably think about it more when I'm writing.
Okay,
like I've got a joke at the moment where I use the F word. I don't say the get bit at the end, but I say fag.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I have used the full word
Okay.
I didn't get abused or whatever, but it got crickets. They fucking did not laugh at the joke.
Okay.
And then I've only done the joke twice.
Yeah.
First time I used the maggot.
Yeah.
And second time I just used fag.
Yeah.
And it went off.
The second time?
Yeah. So people just
without the extra.
Yeah. So people
okay.
just don't want that full word right now, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even though I didn't get abused, when you get crickets from a joke, it does not feel good.
No.
It's like you're driving home, you're just like, should I just run this into a Stovey pole? Like it sucks, man. Like, but yeah, it's just the game. And like I know some comedians, well, I don't know them, but I listen to podcasts and stuff of like some of the biggest comedians out in the US. And they're just like, sometimes it's fun to go to a small room with 10 people and fucking eat a dick. Like,
really?
Because once you've got a name, people just laugh at you.
Well, that's it. I mean,
and they're just like, it's fun to be silly and try new stuff and eat. I'm not there yet. I don't I've never enjoyed eating a dick on stage. Like I sweat. I'm like, I need to go home. I need to go home. Like, like I hate it.
You got to wash it off.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I can imagine when you're so confident in yourself that you're killing every night to a theater, that it might be fun to go to a room and fucking eat a bag. Like,
well, I mean, there's a lot of artists that do that, right? They use those monikers to test things on like a more authentic audience that's not, basing them off the equity of what they are as an artist. I know Jeff Buckley used to do that in Memphis with his second album. He was playing songs to people who didn't know who he was under a false name just to get a real reaction versus the expectations they place and go, oh yeah, this is just good because it's him.
Yeah.
Which
that's and that's like I don't want to speak ill of anyone in the industry, no matter whether there's a chance they listen to this or not. But I recently went to a comedy show of someone who I have in my basic, probably my Mount Rushmore of comedy, and I thought it sucked, man. I thought it fucking sucked, and probably because they don't have the opportunity to do that. They don't have the opportunity to grow because they just go out and people are like, oh, this is so-and-so.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
It's a yes man kind of thing. Yeah.
Like, his first thing he did was when he went on stage, he came out and it wasn't a joke and he wasn't trying to be funny.
Yeah.
He just like, Adelaide, like trying to hype everyone up.
Yeah.
And instead of like, whoa, yeah, everyone laughed. Everyone laughed at that.
So yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Chris Tucker. I saw Chris Tucker live, and I love Chris Tucker. I think he's hilarious. But I felt that, there was some things that he said that people just laughed at, and I think they only laughed because it's him.
Yeah, and he's got a funny voice.
Yeah. But he was funny. Like he wasn't like not like he bombed or anything, in my opinion. But like, I think there was just things that he did that weren't funny, but people laughed because they're like, oh, it's just Chris Tucker. Like this is funny. Like it's like almost a generalization versus if you look at it like what the content was on its own merit, it wasn't that good. Like if that was some no name doing it in a room with 10 people, it probably doesn't do that well. Yeah.
I was at Boardman's birthday a few weeks ago and talking to a couple of friends about comedy. And I named 3 of probably the most highest paid comedians in the business right now.
Okay.
That I truly, and people might laugh at this, people might think I'm like absolutely out of my mind. I truly believe that I'm more talented than these people. I don't want to mention them, right? Like I said, I don't want to get to a point where I meet these people and like this is a clip going around the internet. So I don't want to say it. So, but like, there's a few out there that are just famous people.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, this is one of the best people in our craft. And it's like, no, it is not. Yeah. There are people like Mark Norman, Sam Morril, Joe List, Stavros Halkias, Ian Fidance, that are fucking killers. They care about comedy, that are so fucking good. Yeah. And then you got these guys that are just like household names and people are like, yeah, he's the best at comedy. It's like, just cause he's more famous than people doesn't make him good at comedy.
Yeah.
Like, people are out there grinding, not getting their dues. And those 5 names I just said are just like
Yeah.
some of the best writers,
Yeah.
comics, performers that you can see.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've got millions of views on YouTube, but like they're not getting Netflix gigs. They're not getting.
Well, I mean, they're not A-listers getting, movies and things and sitcoms and everything else.
Yeah, or doing like they're doing clubs and theaters. They're still in club and theaters. They're not getting arenas.
No.
There's some arena acts out there that are fucking garbage, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up garbage.
Yeah.
And it's just because you can get to a point where, yes, and it's hard work to get to that point, don't get me wrong, where your name just has equity in itself.
Yeah.
But if you truly respect the craft, you shouldn't be letting the craft suffer because of that.
That's, like amazing.
Sensational.
I agree. And I think that's it, is like, I think it gets to a
I
point
love
where.
cheesecake.
No, I think, look, that's the thing. And I think for people like in like a situation where you're up and coming and you're still trying to like earn your way and doing that stuff, is like you get your ego destroyed. Like you don't have an ego. So like you might say, yeah, I'm better than them. But the reason you say you're better is because you invest probably more into the craft, more into the reps, more into the things where, not to say versus them, not practicing what their show is or whatever, but I mean like you're the guy that's in the into the room that's 10 people there and you're trying to make 10 strangers laugh.
Bitch, you weren't with me shooting in the gym?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't have people at the show who weren't there for rehearsals or whatever else. But like, I think that's that thing where that's like, you could objectively say one's harder than the other. And as much as it, like, your talent and your experience gets you those opportunities later down the line, ego definitely comes into that. And once your brand becomes big or whatever else, and like we've all met people who are either, doing something really well.
I just realized I named 5 New York comedians. So I think there might be something about LA that's like putting some shame in the game. It just hit me. I was like, I only named New Yorkers.
What about Santino? Bobby
Andrew Santino.
Andrew Santino, yeah. Where's he from?
He's from Chicago, but he's an LA comic. He started in LA and has been in LA ever since.
He's pretty funny.
He's very funny. He's filming a special shortly, so we'll be able to see. He's got a couple of albums, but no specials. So it'll be interesting to see.
Oh, pressure's on.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of his. I'm more of a fan of him as a guest on podcasts than his own podcast.
Okay.
He puts on I think he's, because he's so LA. Yeah. I think he knows the value in grabbing someone else's audience. Sure. So he really goes out there with his A game. Yeah. And he does bits and he's very good at improving. Yeah. And he just goes crazy on other podcasts and he's more low key on his. I still listen to his. I think he's good. It's entertaining, but it's just like when he's a guest, man,
he's hilarious.
He just kills. And like I've got like this weird thing with my memory where like I'll drive past a spot and be like, oh, I know what song I was listening to last time I drove down here. Yeah. And I've got...
It's a cue. It's like a cue in your memory, yeah.
I remember the first time I heard him on... I used to listen... I don't listen to this podcast anymore, but I used to listen to The King and the Sting, which is Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen. Okay. No, sorry. It's called The Fighter and the Kid. Sorry. Yeah. And he was a guest on there, and I remember listening to it. And he was so fucking funny that when I think of the bit he was doing, I picture the road I was on. Like, it's so crazy. Yeah.
The picture gets painted.
Yeah. So I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like driving home from Aldinga if I think of this bit. Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking.
That's nuts because it's like, that means that it's a pretty heavily ingrained memory. If you can remember where you were and what you were doing.
Laughing very hard, driving is probably dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess that's where I go to from here is like the ego thing. How do you feel about ego in your act and your craft? Obviously, like you're you could say a starving artist in a way.
100%. I'm a rookie, man.
I just didn't want to offend you. That's why I say, so you could say that. But in my mind, I'm calling you a starving artist. Just like I'm myself, I'm the same situation where I've got no credence to stand on that makes me better than anyone else. And I would never think that for anyway. But I think it's sometimes, you don't know if I'm going to step on your toes. And I don't think I'm going to step on your toes.
No, but you don't like just because we're relatively new in the game, and maybe young blood's a somewhat unknown beer, doesn't mean that you don't have the skills.
No,
right?
No,
it doesn't mean that I'm not funny just because I've only been doing it for 3 years.
No, for sure. No, that's really well said.
Yeah. So, I think ego's both hugely important and also can be the absolute fucking downfall for you in any industry, not just sport, not just comedy, not just entertainment, in business, in relationships, in anything. Ego is the most dangerous part of you as well as the most promising, I think.
Really? Oh, well, that's a really interesting take because I have a very different view.
Okay.
Ego.
Hit me with it.
Well, I have no ego anymore. Like it's been destroyed. And I think the ego part of things would have held me back.
Maybe in aspects, but like I said, you don't think you've got a shit beer.
No, but that's not ego. That's confidence in the product. And that's also like consumer feedback. Like I've got enough of the market to know that majority of people like it. Like I've done enough. It's 2018 to now is 4 years. I've had a lot of people try it. I've had a lot of people be fucking mean and crude, but I've also had a lot of people say, I really, really enjoy this. And then the sales, like the numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So I think that's...
And children don't.
Well, children apparently don't. Yeah, but not that I'm feeding them beer.
Yeah, but children will tell you you're fat to your face.
Oh, dude. Why is she so fat? Yeah. Or why is he fat? Like, it 100%. But I mean, I don't know why I use those examples. But I don't know. No, but it's like that with me and so there's no the confidence doesn't change. Like I'm totally confident and I'm so at the point now where I've changed things and tweaked things over and over and over again until it gets to a better version of itself over and over again. And I feel really happy with where it's at now. But the ego is different. So for example, if someone originally, one of the first visits I ever had when I went into this place and they were the highest on my list of places I want to sell beer in. And I went there and the guy was really rude. He was a massive shit. And he called me out for a bunch of stuff. He was like, oh, what the fuck? Who are you? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing the product? Are you just someone else? Blah, blah. He had no idea of who I was or anything else. And so he's like, I'll come back in a couple of days and, I'll follow up, whatever. I went back in there and he told me, your beer's not very good and it's way overpriced and nobody's going to buy it. And that's a no from me. And until you do another product, don't come back, basically. And I remember it was very early on and it was someone that I had on this massive thing in Melbourne of I wanted to be in this, environment. And I walked away and I sat in the car and I was like, fucking what? Broken, just properly, it really impacted me in a way. I was still resilient enough, but it really impacted me at the time. So then I went, I was like, all right, my rule is I always want to do between 4 and 5 visits a time. So if I'm in an area, I want to hit 5 places. So then I was like, all right, that was the first one. And this was early on. So this is a bit more of a testament to action begets action. You set rules and then you get better at it and you hold yourself accountable. Anyway, so I go into this next place and I drop in and I think I just wasn't on my A game because I'd just been fucking told everything was shit. And I give it to this guy and this guy owns a couple of bars, whatever. They were cold. So he opens the beer, pours it in a glass, drinks it. He goes, yeah, this is really good. How much? And I was like, oh, this. And he goes, you got any deals? And I said, yeah, we can do this. And he says, can you get me 5 cases? And I went, yep. And I walked out and I went, what the fuck? Within 10 minutes, I had 2 completely different sides of spectrum of this is a really, really positive engagement and this is a really, really negative engagement. And I think that's when I realized that like you can't, you know, that's not going to dictate it. I'm not going to let anything dictate it moving forward after that. So I was like, all right, well, if someone hates it, I'm going to shake it off. It's not a reflection of me. Like, it's really hard to separate that. I mean, it's be fucking harder for you because you are the fucking product, right? When you're on stage, you are the product. If someone gives you a bad review, they're talking shit about you.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of bad reviews and I've had a lot of great reviews. Everyone has an opinion, right? Whatever. But that's that thing is the ego became destroyed because the ego was, I expected to be told that it was great. And when it wasn't great, when they didn't give me that, I was like down and I questioned my own value. So I fucking cut that out. And I would say that to anyone else in the same situation, no matter where you're at, is cut it out and just focus on the craft, focus on those kind of things. Because if that was, and not to say that it's different for me or someone else, but if I would say that if someone else had been through some of the engagements I've had, they still wouldn't be going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've had people be really rude and you go, why am I putting myself through this? What is this doing for me? It doesn't serve me in any way. And then you get these amazing experiences on the other side and you go, that's why I'm doing it. So it's like kind of like that balance of like the ego for me is gone because I don't expect anything. Nobody owes me anything. They owe me nothing. When I go in there and they give me shit, that's their opinion. If they give me good, that's their opinion. Mm-hmm. And I take it as a grain of salt and I move on. And I look at it in a business and a fiscal sense, which is, okay, that sucks I didn't get this account, but then I can get this account because they really like it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it kind of just, it's, you know, it's that thing where you just...
Maybe that's why we've got different opinions since you're looking at it more from a business perspective and maybe like you said, my product is myself. So
well, it is.
So I feel like ego is, and that's the same with like in sport, like people talk shit about like Ja Morant and James Harden when they're saying like, yeah, I could beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1. It's like, what self-respecting athlete or basketball player would say, no, I couldn't?
But see, I don't think that's ego. I think that's confidence. I think ego is expecting that people will love your product because you did it or your thing. Because I'm great, people should think I'm great. I think that's ego. Confidence is going, no, I've given myself the best shot and I'm confident that majority of the time this is going to work. Ego is going, I expect it to work and the only reason I expect it to work, it's like, you know, when you start a business, my ego was, other people, businesses and all that kind of stuff, they can't sell beer at this price point. I'm going, no, fuck that, I can. That was completely egotistical of me to think that. And then when it happened and when I'm in those situations and it doesn't work, you go, well, it doesn't work for me. So the guy who told me that it wouldn't work, he was right. And it sucks because you're like, he was a negative, you know, person and he was a dream crusher. But then I had to learn that experience for myself.
He's just another guy in the craft beer industry.
Oh yeah, exactly. But that's the thing.
They're like comedy.
It's saturated, right? It's saturated.
Comedy, coffee, beer. It's all subjective. At the end of the day, you could be the number one selling beer in Australia, and one craft beer critic who thinks he knows everything can be like, this is the worst thing I've ever tasted. It's like, well, yeah. What do you know then?
Well,
if the people have already spoken, what do you know? Well,
that's it. And I think that's the relativity of it is like not to let things get you down and not to influence you. I think that's like, you know, we spoke about it earlier. Putting a filter on your influence is massive. So like the people you speak to when you're in these times, that's really critical. If you're going to someone and they're feeding you shit, you're going to feel worse. If you go to someone and they say, no, this is a bad day. You've had a bad day, but it's going to be better. You got to keep going. Fucking keep going. Get out there and do the next place because it will get better. There is options out there. It's not just going to be the be all and end all because one fucking person who you don't know and they don't know you and they mean nothing. It's like, you know, I wouldn't ask for advice from someone. You know, I wouldn't take criticism from someone. I wouldn't ask for advice, you know? Yep. Same thing. Like a lot of these people are gatekeeping their, you know, consumer segment and they might not like you. They might not like me. They might not like the product, whatever. It doesn't matter. I can't control that. I can put my best foot forward. And when that doesn't work out or if it does work out, I take the same approach. I go to the next one and I give them the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I think, yeah, I like the one thing I've always thought with comedy and I think with a lot of things in society now, like if it's beer, if it's coffee, if it's fucking restaurants, cafes, whatever, everyone thinks they can do it. So I call it the modern art paradox, right? So like you go see an Andy Warhol screen print and you go, I could fucking do that. It's a soup can.
But
What do you
didn't.
mean? You didn't. One, you fucking didn't. Jackson Pollock, everyone's like, oh, Jackson Pollock.
Or he just throws paint at the fucking thing. Hey, guess what, mate?
You
didn't.
But guess what? You don't know how long it took for that piece to end up there either.
Yeah.
You don't know all the shit shows they went through and all the stuff where people fucking hated on them and other people criticized and everything else. And then eventually someone gave them an opportunity down the line because the only reason was it was persistence or it was a break or something that happened. You don't know. So you say, I could fucking paint that. But yes, guess what? You're putting that painting up on your hallway. You're not putting it in the fucking MoMA.
Yeah.
Or you're not putting it in any local gallery. Like, it's different. And I think that's it, is like we have this. Like,
and also, he got in when he did.
Yeah.
He got in. He was the first one to do it.
Oh, well, I think.
So, like, maybe you think you could do that, but maybe you would never have fucking thought of it if he never did it in the first place.
But exactly. That's the thing, is like, name something else. Like, there's so many things that
Post-it notes is basic as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I could have done that. Would I ever have thought of it?
No.
Absolutely not.
But that's the thing, is like, you would then, you
and wasn't that a failed attempt at glue or something like that? Isn't that what a post-it note is? Wasn't that?
I don't actually know.
I think it was a byproduct of a failed adhesive.
Well, there's no failures, only lessons, really. That's another thing.
That's what they say. And I think we need to take a quick break because I'm about to piss all over this desk.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we're back, and
relieved.
It was there's no failures, just lessons, I think.
Yeah. No, I guess like I was probably on a bit of a tangent and everything else, but yeah, the whole sentiment I had about ego and everything else was more so like my own personal experience. And the modern art paradox is something that I found is people will give you advice without risking anything on their own dime. You know, like if you're listening to someone and they say, oh, you know, you should do this, whatever like that. Like they're not doing what you're doing. They're not the one that's on stage. They're not the one that's invested a lot of time, money and energy into a product. It's a lot easier to say things from the safety net of your own life or whatever for someone else. And I think that's it. Is I think it goes very much intertwined with the modern art thing where I could do that or I could do this better. I look at it and I go, okay, well, don't tell me, show me.
Yeah.
And how many people will do that is probably, you know, very little.
Minimal, less than 1%.
No, definitely not. But
less than 1% of people for real would, if you said, don't tell me, show me, would show you.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is like, it just shows you that it's on that important system for other people is it's not very high. You know, like some people just like to talk shit. Some people like to just be fed, I guess they get fed their narratives in a way, and then they can give criticism based off of disagreeing with you, but they're not doing anything. They've got no skin in the game. They're not trying anything. So like, what does their opinion mean? Like, it doesn't, like you could give them the airtime for it, or you could just, you know, put a filter on it and say, I'll listen to you. If you've got some like golden nuggets of wisdom, I'm going to absolutely listen to it, just like you would reading a book. But a lot of the time you have to go 90% of what people are going to say to me doesn't mean anything. And it's not going to influence me. It's not going to change anything drastically. Like, you know, feedback's one thing, but, you know, definitely be careful where you get it from and who your inner circle and sanctum is, because that's precious space, really.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I was going to ask you, if you had to give advice to yourself as a younger person, like let's just say you just finished playing basketball, like this is back then, this is before comedy, whatever else, stuff that you've taken on board now versus then, what would you say? I'd
give this advice to anybody, in any profession, in any sort of creative profession, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. Don't expect people to give you an opportunity. Like don't sit around and wait for someone to offer you a job when
or even the perfect timing.
Don't wait for someone else to give you an opportunity based on the fact that you've got a marketing degree or a design degree.
Yeah.
Go out and design something.
Yeah.
Design something on your own time, on your own dime, and send that to the company you designed it for, or add it to your portfolio so you can take it to companies. You cannot just decide that you are something or have a degree in something with no experience and expect that you're supposed to be that thing. I can't expect people to put me on their shows.
No.
I can't expect people to pay me for their shows, sadly. On that, in comedy, people will have a show where people are paying $30 a ticket and have 5 acts that don't get paid.
Yeah.
Just the guy that organised the show is taking all the money.
Yeah.
It's the NCAA, bro. They're not paying their employees.
It's the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go any further down that line. But I cannot even expect to get paid for the gigs I do. Go and do it yourself. If you want to make films, you can't expect to study film and then all of a sudden you're going to get offered to fucking direct a TV show or a movie. You have to show that you can do it. You have to create a short film.
Yeah.
You have to create a feature-length film sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to be in there creating yourself, putting your product out there for people to take notice. You cannot expect anyone to give you a chance when you have nothing to show them.
I think, and I agree entirely. I think that's the biggest point, is that you can do it. It's like the DIY or die thing, right? I believe in that, everything. Like, it's because, like you said, no one owes you anything and no one's going to just give you something. And if you say I'm an artist, no one's going to believe you until you produce things. So you have to let your work speak for itself. I also think that comes from social media in a way, where a lot of people are getting status and fame without talent. So for years and years and years, it's always been, I've been really good at this skill set. I'm a great musician, or I'm an actor, or I'm whatever else, and I got famous. Now they're plucking people out of obscurity and putting them on Love Island or something like that, and they're becoming famous, and they get that status by skipping steps, which is like winning the lottery in a way, right? It's not like you can't plan for it. So I think,
except there's less money and it's so short lived. Like,
but I mean,
for something like that, like a Love Island, you get $100,000 for winning, which I don't think anyone has ever taken for themselves. They all split it with the person that they win it with.
Okay.
So that's $50,000 for 2 months, which is, in a normal.
But then all the Instagram followers and everything else you can monetize and stuff.
Yeah, but the fall off of that is rapid because one, the show is over, no one cares anymore, and two, when the next season starts, people really don't care.
Yeah.
So,
but what do you bring?
At maximum, you get $50,000 and 12 months.
Yeah.
12 months is I'd be surprised to see 6 months.
It just depends, though. I think like I'm not going to bat for them or anything, but I think my biggest thing is I agree with everything you said, and I think it's a really good advice for anyone.
Love Island's a specific example, but
the reality TV.
Name someone from Love Island that's killing it.
I haven't seen Love Island.
Okay, so that example.
But I mean, like, it's more so like even like Married at First Sight or these other shows where people are kind of put from, they're just everyday nobodies. Not to say nobodies, because everyone's somebody, but I mean, like, you don't have to be, mastering a craft to get the notoriety. You can just be put in front of lots of people and then get notoriety from that, which I don't think, obviously it's not lasting and it's not meaningful, and it's kind of like then those people just get addicted to that kind of lifestyle and need to do anything they can to get it, keep it. But yeah, I mean,
sex tape, pimping Kris Jenner.
The OG.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's really valuable advice, where the do-it-yourself thing is, I think the resources out there for now, for trying, is everything. And we always have these like social perceptions that we're going to, this is going to hurt my credibility if people don't like it or whatever else. Like, you know what? You're going to fucking suck to start. You are going to suck, because every time it's like action begets action, the same thing, that standards beget standards. the standard that you set and the skills that you learn are going to enable you to learn more and better and get better. And obviously, you aren't progressing if you don't look back in 6 months and go, "That was shit compared to what I'm doing now."
And that's like I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, you are going to suck at first, and I think I'm good at comedy. I don't think I'm great at it. I don't think I'm the best at it. But that's why I don't put my stuff online. I want to be at a certain level of quality before I start sharing it. Do I know that there is merit and a benefit to putting stuff online? Yes, but I'd prefer for it to be at a certain standard before it starts going out there. So I'm not like people. So many people have told me you got to start putting stuff. I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it right now.
Okay.
Like I will.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just like you
in another essence though, when will you be ready?
I can't put a quantitative measure on that. I'll be ready when I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. I mean, I think you're ready.
I've got jokes. I've got jokes now that are ready. But I also want those jokes in my pocket for shows that like I haven't toured. I've got an infinite market right now, so I don't want to burn my shit online.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of those, guides. They say give your best stuff out for free. Gary V's and all those kind of stuff where they go give these resources out for free, and then people pay you for your skill set because you've set a higher standard. Blah blah blah. I would probably the only spanner I'd throw in that works, and I'd say is you're ready, but I understand why, because you are in a situation. It's the same. Like I know comedy is different to the normal things. Like, you can't film any specials and stuff like that when it's any big name comics because they don't want to release the gear to ruin for the person who hasn't seen it yet. So it's kind of like a spoiler. So I can understand on that context. But I think that I think when it's like there's no time, as I said with the tree analogy earlier, whatever the old Asian proverb, 20 years ago or today, like I think you're ready. It just depends on how high on the totem pole it is of your priorities.
Yeah, pretty low, I think. I don't because
Exactly.
I don't think it's a make or break situation. I'm not my stuff isn't like I'm not like a TikTok comedian. I don't have one liners. I don't have I don't have probably that fan base, and I mean that's probably because I'm not on TikTok. But like, it's just not me right now, and it potentially will be, potentially won't be. But like, you don't have to have your material out there to be a successful comedian, and I've got some examples, but they're already successful, so it's kind of like a
look. There's no right way to climb the mountain.
Yeah,
I genuinely like. There's so many different ways to do it. Like, which side, whatever. Like, there's so many analogies you can throw at it. But like, I understand that, and I think, I think that was more so an outsider's perspective, going, like if you wanted to do it, you could do it, and you could do it right away. You could do it today. But again, I give that advice to everyone. That's the biggest thing I'll say to anyone is like, don't think, just start, because you're gonna suck. Get it over with. Yeah.
And do it, yeah. And just do it. Just don't fucking wait for someone to do it for you or offer you the chance to do it. Just fucking do it.
The longer it goes, the harder it gets to start. That's the reality. It's just like anything, like we said, with the basketball, dribbling the basketball, the longer you don't go to the gym, the easier it is not to go. Yeah. Same thing. It's the same scenario with any skill that you're doing or any kind of task. If you don't do it, the longer you separate yourself between starting and doing it, you're going to put it off, and it's going to get easier every day that passes because it's just normal.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, once you do start, you set the standard, and then you need to upkeep it, just like going to the gym or going to fucking runs or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. And I think that's, I mean, with the beer, the biggest thing for me is like, I want I want to be able to do all the cool things and enable the community that I really love. Like that's a passion for me, like the arts community and musicians and everything else. I just want to be in the room. I want to be an ingredient in the room for all of these events and things like that. So if I'm not doing something in those spaces, no matter how small, whatever else it is, then I'm not really driven to keep doing it, you know? So every time I do like an event or we sponsor, you know, like a band night or we sponsor, you know, we do a lot of art gallery stuff in Melbourne and everything like that. It's amazing. Like the biggest sense of fulfillment and purpose I get from just being in the room. I'm not trying to take credit away from anyone else. I just want to be there. And I think that's it. I figured that out. That's what it takes for me. So every time I get an event, I'm hyped. That's a win. It doesn't matter about anything else. So I think that's the thing is like, you know, once you start, you get that kind of taste for it and you go back and do it again. And it kind of motivates you and like that energy and kind of like internal like dialogue goes, I want more of this. And that's what happens. But again, you know, it's all unique. It's a different perspective for every person. And, you know, I respect that, especially with comedy. Comedy's a different kettle of fish altogether. But, I mean, I was really intrigued by the advice thing. And I think you actually are a testament, though, to it. I remember when we had the conversation. You remember when we had the conversation?
What one?
About the stand-up?
Like starting it?
Yeah. Do you remember? Obviously, you had when you were listening to Andrew Santino or whatever.
Yeah.
You remembered where you were. Do you remember where you were when we had the conversation about you doing comedy?
Back porch at my old house.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. So that's really cool to hear. Because it's like, I think, you know, for those who don't understand or know, I gave Claveren 12 months to do stand-up, and I think he did it in 5. Even less, I think.
No, it was...
He did it in June, I think.
6 months. Yeah, half the time.
Yeah, so half the time. But it was a thing that it was like, yeah, I think you kind of, you took it seriously. You took it on and you really did it in a situation where so many people would have laughed that off and they would have just shrugged it. And you took it on, and then, as you said, that first time and everything else, like, now look at you. You got Perth coming up. You got Queensland coming up. Adelaide Fringe next year. Onwards and upwards, right? And now the standard's high enough that, you know, the next thing has to be bigger than what you're doing now. Yeah. So it's always progress, which is great.
Yeah. And I plan on doing all the festivals. I know I'm going to have to collect a couple settlements.
Get your ass to Melbourne Comedy Festival, my guy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to collect a couple settlements first because I've just about exhausted all my funds. But yeah, Melbourne, Sydney, Edinburgh next year is the intent.
Fuck, that's big time.
As long as I've got the finances, that's the only thing. So.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's always great to reflect, and even still, like these conversations would never have seemed real a few years ago, and now they're so real.
Yeah, yeah.
How cool is that?
Even doing a solo, like it seems pretty crazy that's actually happening.
Sensational.
Yeah, but it is because it seems like, again, you did enough 10 minutes and 15-minute sets that going to 50 was realistic. Yeah, and I think now you're at the point where you go, I want to do this again and again and again. Yep. And fucking onwards and upwards, my guy.
Yeesh.
Yeesh. Yeppers.
What do we say about yeppers?
Yeesh. Sweet. Well, I mean, do you have anything else to ask or any questions? Like, I want to know. Can the people know what the next recipe? Well, not recipe. What the next beer is? I mean, that's a really great question. To be honest, there's nothing really concrete right now. There's a few things that are up in the air. Speaking with some of the other partners in the business and listening to what the market is. The reality is we never kind of be influenced by trends and fads and things like that. Mm-hmm. The old Jack Kerouac quote, you know, I don't get influenced by trends and fads and popular opinion, things like that. And it's not because it's wrong. It's just because I don't think it lasts. I think you have to be really passionate about what you're doing because people can sense it, and they can sense if you're trying to make a quick buck, mm-hmm. or they can sense if you really mean it and you talk about it with passion. So Crystal, I have so much passion for. I made the name up. We made the recipe in-house, everything. It took months. It took a long time. So the next one, I don't know. I would love to do something. I think, most recently, I think a third SKU. There's probably going to be a bit more of a similar within the lager and the ale.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe something around that, an XPA, an NEPA. Around that I think would probably be it. But we got a brand refresh coming, which is really exciting. I'm really, really hyped about. The brand, obviously, we made these things a few years ago, and we've evolved a lot. So we want to just keep up with that.
Yeah.
So I'm really hyped about that, and I think, I think it's always exciting to see your baby change and grow, because it's you get really accustomed to doing things a certain way, and when you kind of change it, you really you adapt and you pivot and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see the next iterations of where the brand can go and how people interact with it.
Do you feel that you not copied, but like mimicked or channeled any other beers when you created Youngblood or the lager in particular, since that was the first?
Brutally honest, probably.
Yeah. I mean,
I think subconsciously.
I think anyone that does anything, no idea is original.
No, I agree. I agree. Not entirely, yeah.
Doing a beer in general is obviously, it's a saturated market, just like comedy, podcasting, and coffee, just like my big three things that I'm involved in.
Yeah, not an easy fight.
Yeah. So I'm sure there was some sort of inspiration from somewhere for the flavors and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I was really driven. So with the lager, I was really driven to make something that was quite a crowd pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that I wanted to be based off of, the Australian beer market. Even you're looking at the Asian beer market, so you got the Asahis, the Kirins.
Yeah.
And then in Australia, a lot of people drink, Carlton Draft and what is it? A lot of do the Bolter XPAs and the Great Northerns and things like that. I can't do things without taste. I'm very malt driven because I guess the European Asian style of things, I'm really driven by that. So I needed to have some sort of flavor, but I needed it to be easy. And this iteration is not the first. So when the first lager and then even the second batch of the lager, it was different. And then now, since then, every batch since then has been probably closer to what it is now. The crystal ale's changed a variety of times as well. The current batch is probably where it's going to be, but I wouldn't say it wouldn't change again. But yeah, I think the influence comes from, you surely look at things, and as I've mentioned earlier with the modern art paradox, is I looked at it and I went, I want to do it myself and I want to try my own thing, and you have delusions of grandeur and you think, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be the fucking coolest beer ever or whatever.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that. People see through that shit. So, I think the core belief has to be I have to really believe in the product. So there was a few hiccups early on, and now I definitely believe in both our products. And so the third one will have to be the same ethos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the influence probably comes from, me and you have been drinking beer for how many bloody years? I don't know, 17, 16.
Yeah.
We shouldn't probably say that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so it's been over half our lives now, and I think that's where it probably comes from, just the enjoyment of that.
Yeah.
I love beer. I love it so much. I love sharing a beer with someone. I think it's such a communal thing. We spoke about it yesterday actually, when it was if you went to get a beer with someone and they ordered a water, you'd be like, oh, fuck.
I'm going home.
Yeah, and it sucks. It sucks that that's a thing, but if I went and ordered a coffee and you ordered a tea, I'd still feel weird.
Yeah. Oh, bro, 100%. It's just
we're not doing the same thing.
Yeah. Shared experience is maximum. I used to, I do still enjoying my own plate of food, but most restaurants these days, I would say 90% of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much pubs is the only place you can go now and you just order your own palmy or whatever. But you go to a place, they give you a thing they put in the middle of the table and they give you share plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something to talk about. You're both experiencing the exact same taste.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tough, not tough, but if you get a West End and I get a pale ale, I can't be like, fuck, how good is this, dude?
I know.
Because you'll be like,
yeah,
oh well, I'm not having that.
Yeah,
I have to go more general and be like, fuck, it's cold, isn't it? It's lucky this is cold.
Yeah,
like
how good's beer?
The shared experience is huge in anything. Anything.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, isn't that Into the Wild? Like, nothing's valuable unless it's shared or something.
Happiness isn't real unless it's shared.
There you go.
Yeah,
you got a good memory.
So one of the, I'm not a big quote guy, but that one resonates with me for sure.
Yeah, that one's, I mean, it's a great film, but
how fun is being happy alone, dude? What the fuck?
Well, it's hard.
And crazy.
Yeah.
What, are you just walking around the house dolo with a smile on your face, you fucking weird cunt?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe a jazz pianist might be the only person that's really that happy.
Yeah. Just jerking themselves off constantly.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think I agree with that, and I think that I think it's the same with. It probably comes down to the blueprint of a lot of things. Is that it has to be like a community thing, and just like comedy, you want to sit in a room and all have a good laugh together. The same thing, you want to sit in a pub and get a nice beer together.
Yeah.
It's all about the experience. It's nothing to do with like the product's the vessel. The experience is the medium. Like that's what you want to achieve. Is I want to have a good time with people that I really care about and enjoy, and being a part of that is everything. So that's it. Like that's all it is, man. Like I love being. I've always said it's an ingredient in the room. It's a privilege to be in them, and I'll be stoked forever just to be a part of that. So that's the goal, is to get into as many rooms as possible.
For sure. I don't know, and you can say whether you want to elaborate on this or not. Being in those rooms and facilitating that as part of your goal. Do you want to go into that today or no?
What do you mean?
Facilitating the talent, getting everyone in the same room, working together, that type of business model. Is that something you want to discuss today, or?
As in, like, we're talking agency stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, definitely. I think, so this is something I think a lot of people in Adelaide will, I guess, relate to, is that when I came out of uni, I didn't have heaps of experience with doing creative endeavors. So, that's how I ended up in Melbourne, because that was like, I got a job and I moved over and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still there. So I think a big part of me wants to give back to those communities and really build something up, like a grassroots thing with like photography and design and everything else that we do. Like the brand stands for that, and art and music and everything else, and enabling those things.
And your connections run deep in all these industries.
Well, it takes time to accumulate, but yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I mean, I put myself in situations where I've met really great people, and through that, like, you come with like, there's opportunities that come with being in the room and putting yourself out there. And so I wouldn't say it's luck. I'd say it's more like I've tried to get it, and some of it happens and some of it doesn't. But it's luck, and it's also manifestation, I suppose, or I don't know. We are, I don't know if lucky is the word. We're lucky to have a friendship group that is quite creative. Yeah. But is that luck, or is that by design? I don't know. No, for sure. Well, I mean, like, you can look at it and everyone came from different places. So I guess it's not as much luck as like people finding their network and community. The thing with manifesting and stuff, I don't really believe in manifesting unless you do something with it. So like, if you just sit there at home and say, I want to win $1 million, I want to win $1 million, and I'm going to win $1 million,
the secret.
It's not going to happen, right? But if you say, if you can put yourself in the situations where like, oh, I'm going to do this to give myself the best chance, like, you're buying the lottery ticket.
I buy $1,000 worth of them shits.
Yeah.
Every week I do that.
Yeah.
And then I cry poor.
Yeah, but the thing, but that's the thing. It was like, by going to these events, like, you don't fucking know what will happen by being there. You don't, because you can say, I'm looking for opportunities, and you can be really, really prepared, but it's preparation meets opportunities where things align.
I'll tell you what's so funny, bro, is like, I do the same thing from a different thought process.
Okay.
It's like
what?
I want to say yes to as much as possible. I want to go out.
Yes,
I want to be there. because I can get some stories and I can tell jokes.
Do it for the story.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're like, I can potentially meet somebody that could be a connection to this. Network. And mine's like, I hope something goes terribly wrong.
You're looking at like a Larry David Seinfeld thing.
Yeah. And I've got something to talk about on the podcast, or I've got a joke from it. Yeah.
You know what you should start doing is you should start being like borderline, like really socially awkward and just seeing how people interact with you.
Just spec myself out.
Oh God. No, but I mean, I think that's it. It's like, you know, Larry David wrote all the episodes of Seinfeld based off of, you know, experiences from his notebook, right?
Yeah.
So like, that's essentially what you're doing, but you're doing it from material versus.
Yeah. Most of my material comes from conversations. Like yesterday, perfect example, we were talking and like I came up with an analogy for a situation and then you were like, that's a bit. And I was like, that is a bit.
It is. And it's very strong too.
Yeah.
Like,
so a lot of my jokes come from just conversations. I'm being silly with my friends, trying to make my friends laugh.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it works and I'm like, fuck, that could be something.
Well, I guess that's something you've also mentioned previously was that you can't be funny with your friends and then funny on stage because the context matters.
Yeah.
So you're like, you could say, Steve's a fucking idiot because he did this, and everyone knows me and goes, oh, he is an idiot, and they laugh. But if you're doing it on stage, no one knows who I am, right? So it's the same thing as like, taking that like same approach and then going, I need to make this for the masses that
it needs to be. There's a formula that goes into jokes. So I can't say I was at a bar with my friend and this is what we said and just deliver that conversation. I'm going to have to now turn that into something. I can't just,
you gotta build
I've
the story.
got to gig tomorrow night. I can't just go there and do that.
No.
Yeah.
No. You've got to almost like bring them on the journey. You've got to create.
I've got to be part of the example. And that's especially in the sensitive culture that we're in. I don't want to get like, we'll be here for another hour, but like the culture, the way things are going at the moment, I don't want to, you can't really talk about someone else as the punchline. You have to be the punchline.
It has to be self-deprecating.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't have to be deprecating as such, but like if you are not the experience, you are one, perceived as phony and two, perceived as mocking someone else.
Okay.
So
and that's where criticism comes, or what?
Yeah, like, or just like people don't accept it as funny. So
can I humor you on something that I believe in comedy, and this is just an outsider's perspective. So tell me to fuck off if I'm being an idiot. But I think that you either go full into that persona where you don't give a fuck, like you're ruthless, like the Chappelles and Jeselnik and Bill Burr and
Jeselnik's very unique example. I probably wouldn't include him in that.
All right, but then like the same thing, like even like I watched the Sam Morril special and he definitely crosses the line. Yeah. But like he's not towing it, he just crosses it. Yeah. And I think that's a really thing. So I know that it would be a lot harder to do that in Adelaide or even like locally. I'd say for someone like Sam Morril, it's probably easier. Why? Because he is a joke writer. Sure. Everything is so clearly a joke. Yeah. He's not telling stories about him that come across as real events. Okay. He's making jokes. They are jokes. I've seen his Twitter. People have decided to be mad, but that's because the culture we're in right now, there's currency in that. Yeah. You can get attention from it. He's retweeted it. Yeah. So he's buying in. He's buying into it and giving these people a platform. Yeah. So there's still currency in calling someone out for that. Well, I guess that old adage, no press is bad press, right? He's probably thinking that people will watch his show just from even the negative comments. Yeah. So, but is that something that like, because it strikes me as like you could be that person that is in the same sphere because you do have that in you, like you are, like you are on the show. Is that something that you aspire to be? You want to fuse the Welcome to the Poddy clay into the stage clay, or? I'll announce this now because I haven't announced it on the Welcome to the Poddy podcast. Okay, wow. I'm doing a split bill show at the Adelaide Fringe 2023. Wow. As well as my solo. Oh, shit. Yeah. 2 shows? Yeah. Okay. And the split bill show is with 2 gentlemen from my my personal tour that I've developed. The regional SA tour? Yeah. So Jay
Michael, and Justin Saw,
Okay.
and it's called Not Safe for Netflix.
Okay.
And we're writing jokes specifically just to go as hard as possible in a safe environment.
Right. Okay. So it's like a foreword of like, don't come here unless you want to be slightly offended. Or
Yeah. And do I want to be that comedian? No, I don't.
No.
I'm pretty happy with my style.
The boundaries.
Yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at in
Yeah.
terms. Like, I could probably push it a bit more.
Uh-huh.
But no, I don't want to be a shock value. I don't want to be what do they call them on radio? Shock jock.
Yeah, shock jock.
Yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't want my reactions to be like, oh, he said that. I want my reactions to be like, oh my God, oh, that's so funny. Oh, I didn't see that comment. Like,
Yeah.
So no, I don't want to be that.
The goal is always to still make people enjoy their time.
Yeah, I want to be funny, and I want to be able to talk about things that aren't particularly talked about.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't want to be going crazy. Crazy's for the podcast. Crazy's like, you know, I don't know. I don't even remember half the shit I say on this fucking thing. But yeah, I like to go crazy on here because it's fucking. I make myself laugh because as it's coming out, I'm like, I don't even believe this point of view. You know, like it's just so fucking retarded, man. So that's the fun part about the podcast. I don't want to be that on stage. I don't want people to think that's who I am. And like it's more fun to be that around my friends, talk crazy at the pub and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
there's a place for it.
Yeah. And that's just me, man. I'd prefer to be more artistic with my craft and put the work in to make it a story with beats and punches and tags and stuff like that. That's just that's what I grew up loving about like the old Dave Chappelle,
like Chappelle Show and stuff. Yeah,
no, like
skits
his old comedy.
Yeah,
before he became obsessed with trans, and here we are. I've named somebody like he's not one of those people. Before that, I think I'm better than. He's not. I think he is the GOAT. But like his old stand up, like
pretty hard to top.
It's fucking crazy. Like I just remember like you think about like when you watch movies and people like the high school movies and people like in the schoolyard like freestyling and shit.
Yeah.
I would have a group around me and I'd just be doing Dave Chappelle bits.
Yeah.
And people be losing it. I'm like, I'm not even doing like word for word. Like, I've just memorized. I've watched 1,000,000 times. And I was like, chocolate, this is doo-doo, baby. And people are like losing it. And like I just, so that's where my comment, like we were talking about before, the influence. Yeah. I obviously don't try and do a Dave Chappelle voice. Yeah. I guess Dave Chappelle is pretty still on stage, and so am I. I think my stage presence is probably more similar to Bill Burr. He does a lot of holding the mic stand. I do a lot of that.
I think, you definitely rely upon, like, you also feed off the energy. That's the one thing. But
my delivery is, I choose where the emphasis is. I'm very monotone until I need something else. Yeah. And I don't know. That's probably like a Nate Bargatze type of delivery almost.
But I'd even say it's probably closer to what you actually are.
Yeah. I'm very like I'm not out unless I'm drinking. I'm pretty loud, but like I'm pretty low key. Those listening to the podcast are like low key.
This guy,
but it's just I fucking forgot what we're talking about.
Being on stage and Chappelle and everything else. And
I don't know what my influences are, but like the reason I got into comedy, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, Bruce. Yeah. He's a pretty much, I'd call him, I don't know if there's a such thing as underground comedy, but if he was in the rap game, he would be an underground rapper.
Okay, like got Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, Big L kind of album.
Yeah, Danny Brown. Like he's got a following, but he's not a mainstream dude.
Sure.
So he does it like he's a Atlanta guy. Atlanta's a black city essentially. Like I'm sure he's got a residency somewhere in Atlanta where he just murders week to week. Yeah. I've heard so many stories about people having to follow him and just be like,
fuck.
what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because
What a stitch up.
he was
Yeah.
probably one of the first comedians I remember watching. He's a big fat guy.
Yeah.
Big fat guy. And
Bruce.
yeah. Have you seen The Wash with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, if anyone's seen The Wash, he's the security guard on The Wash. I think he's got braids in The Wash.
Okay.
And his stand-up, I just remember him, Comedy Central on Foxtel back in the day. It was like a 15-minute or 30-minute special. And I just remember this bit that he did about Krispy Kremes, and he was just inhaling them. He's talking about and he's talking about inhaling these Krispy Kremes, and whenever he does the inhale thing, he like does a scream noise. He's like, like, and it's just like it killed me. And me and my dad, and you know, my dad was fucking stoned out of his mind at the time on the couch, and I was
Shout out
just
Harold.
like, yeah, I was lying on the floor, and we were just cracking up, and that was like one of my probably my first
It's like a core memory.
yeah, that was like
Yeah.
my first comedy memory.
Yeah.
And
But
then,
that kind of makes sense in a way now. In hindsight, it kind of makes sense that
I'm a fat cunt because I love Bruce so much.
the braids and everything. Yeah. No, but I think that's like, it kind of makes sense that you ended up in that craft, because if you really put that memory on a pedestal, or you really like, I don't know, you really enjoy that. Maybe that value system was built from around there.
Oh, 100%. I was just, I was like, I've always from that moment just thought like there's so much power in making people laugh. Like, and laughing I think is like the other than crying, you are completely letting your guard down.
Yeah.
Which is why
you're vulnerable, right?
Yeah. Which is why it is so hard to make people laugh in a bright room. If I did a gig in this room, I'd struggle.
Okay.
Because people don't want to be seen laughing.
No.
Comedy's always in a dark room. And when it's in a bright room, or if it's outdoors, it's not hitting the same.
So interesting. I've never thought about it being in a dark room.
Yeah.
It's always like basements
Yeah.
with like candlelight.
No windows.
The
Never.
lights on the stage.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And people, and lot of people, I'd say, I don't have a number for this. I'd say over 50%, I'd probably say 60 to 75% of people are insecure with their laugh.
Yeah.
So they do not want to be seen to be the one laughing. And especially if you're making a joke about gay people, Asians, black people, Jews.
Yeah.
They don't want to laugh and people be like, oh, that's the guy that laughs.
He's the only one who laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why darkness is great, because everyone feels safe to laugh at the crazy shit that comedians are talking about.
That's so interesting. I've never put that two and two together in regards to like, it is a safe space. It is a vulnerability of like letting your guard down and going, oh fuck, this is funny, and just letting yourself
and making people feel that good. It feels good for you. Like it's like volunteering almost. Like it's like you're helping people. Like,
so I guess the service comes from almost an addiction then. Like, is it addictive?
Yeah. Most of us are addicted to alcohol and drugs and no.
But I mean, like, that's a thing that like there's a lot in that's a privilege in a way where, you know, you have a skill set that you can make people enjoy themselves, which is crazy.
Yeah. And getting that feeling from doing Dave Chappelle's bits in the schoolyard.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember Dave Chappelle has this story about going driving with his white friend Dave. Oh no, it's not Dave because he's Dave. His white friend Simon. Yeah. And they get pulled over by the cops. Yeah. And the cops pull him over and he's like, Dave, I'm going to race him. He's got this crazy story about this guy. Yeah. And I told this story to these two girls at high school, Millie and Alice. And they were like hanging on to every word I said, and then they cracked up. Yeah. And they were like, did that really happen? I was like, no, it didn't. Not to me, and probably not to Dave. But
he wrote the bit though.
Yeah. And I was so jealous. I was so jealous that like you
were just the vessel for them laughing at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like,
it wasn't your laugh.
Like Homer and the Odyssey. Like that story got passed down. Like people were telling that story around campfires and stuff. People were listening to it. Yeah. They were the vessels. And it's like, by no means do I ever want to be doing someone else's material, but I was so jealous that I wasn't the one who made the words to make them.
And now you are.
Yeah, now I am, and it feels great.
But I mean, like, if you were to write it down as
Speaking
a
of
sentence,
Homer.
yeah. Number 8. But that's the thing is, I think if you were to write something down as a purpose, like that would be it. Like I get to be the vessel for people enjoying themselves, and that's like, yeah,
That's the
it.
mission statement for the company of Clay McMath.
That's it. That's the ethos, the culture, the statement, the mission statement, whatever you want to fucking call it. Like that's everything. And I think a lot of people don't identify what that purpose thing is. So it's like, if that's something, you know, as ludicrous as making people laugh, it seems crazy. Just like when you fucking talk about Uber, you're getting into a stranger's car, you're going to pay them money with your credit card attached to an app. If you think about that on paper, you go, that's fucking crazy. But now it's normal. It's the same thing with like, if you're going to do, okay, I want to be a comedian. Starting out, people who don't know you as anyone other than Clay, the high school, or Clay, the basketball player, whatever, it's crazy. But now it's normal.
Yeah.
It's become normalized. It's like Clay McMath. Oh yeah, he's a comedian.
Even yesterday, we bumped into someone at a bar, and they were like, "Oh, what, you went to the toilet?" And they were like, "What are you doing with yourself now?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this 9 to 5, and I'm also a comedian."
Yeah,
And I hadn't seen them for, I don't know, what do you reckon, 10 years?
probably. Yeah.
And they were like,
Wow.
oh, I want to see you. I want to see your show.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. I think that's it. Is like it's this thing that you know, once you start and you've done it enough, people, they vibe on the passion.
yeah.
If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, people see through it. Like they can, and they also have
People can feel
skepticism.
like you can't fake passion, man.
Nah, you can't. You really can't.
Yeah.
And that's you really, really cannot like shortcut.
Like banging
Those
a
things.
fat chick and saying, "Don't kiss me," like she knows you're not into it.
Why you put me in these situations, bro?
Hey, I'm the one saying it. You don't
I know,
need to be
no,
scared.
I'm not
sitting over there
scared.
like board man right now.
Oh,
just like,
yeah, am I? Oh. No, I think it's like you put me in these situations where I'm like, I'm gonna laugh because you're fucking stupidly funny, but yeah, I can't choose what my body reacts to.
all my analogies always go to like sex or like
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah, or like full self-deprecation on like, you know, like you know, I think one of them that you had like recently was like, oh, you know, I used to be confident and then I turned into a big fat puss. My ex-girlfriend turned me into a big fat puss.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're the one that's the like the joke.
Yeah, yeah.
You
yeah.
are the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was even talking to my mum this morning, and I was just like, she's like, "Oh, hey, like, oh, you looking forward to your gig on Saturday?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm fucking shitting blood, wishing I was dead, but yeah, I'm pretty keen for it."
Sound hyped.
Yeah,
Sounds exciting.
dope. Oh, cool. So this is
Yeah.
why you love comedy?
Yeah. Healthy. Yeah.
Emptying out the bowels, and all that's coming out is your fucking blood. That's
Oh.
pretty cool.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
usually I would say there's a comedy piece in that, and for this one, I'll say there is not.
No, there has to be something to do with hemorrhoids that hasn't been done, but we'll find it.
Yeah,
Not
I
today.
have
Not
full
today.
faith that you will, but
Anyway,
sweet,
thanks for coming, man, and thanks for interviewing me on my own show.
mate. It's always a
but
pleasure.
I'm glad we got to at least talk a little bit of beer. Probably we're an hour 45 in. I reckon we talked 10 minutes of beer.
Yeah, well, probably more than that, but you know, I'm grateful that I get an opportunity to speak about
I
it.
think there was a fair bit of stuff that we talked about that can be taken and translated into whatever
Anything.
you do.
Yeah,
Whether it's nursing or you know, cleaning floors at a high school.
or
I think
being a designer, or being
Anything,
like, you know,
anything.
or being whatever you want to do, like, or you know, making music, DJing, whatever else it is. Like, I think that's the ultimate thing. The takeaway I would take from any of this would be the naivety and everything that you're doing. Like, do it. Just start.
just do it, man.
Just do it.
Nike.
And you know,
They're not a sponsor of the show.
miss 100 shots that you don't take. Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky, or whatever it is.
Wayne
Or
Gretzky, Michael Scott, yeah.
But I think that's it. Is like, you know, you just like I love this stuff, and I love talking in these mediums and having these conversations because I think it's so rewarding and fun. You know, and I hope that anyone that listens gets some value out of it. And if they're looking for a sign to do something, the sign is now. Fucking do it.
Do it.
Do it. Just start. Get an ABN. Register a domain, lock down the social media handle, fucking start, because it snowballs and it keeps going. So just start.
do it, man. Love you guys. Don't forget to love yourselves. And as always, bang, bang.